Good evening and welcome to Blueprint exclusive of Madhavdas G. A major crackdown on international narcotics trafficking. The Narcotics Control Bureau has seized a drug consignment of Captagon, also called by several as the Jihadi drug. Now, this is the first ever seizure of the drugs consignment worth 182 crore rupees through an operation codenamed Operation Ragepill. This consignment was reportedly destined for the Middle East. This also led to the arrest of a foreign national allegedly linked to the transnational drug trafficking network. This is India's biggest success in its fight against drugs. Why are we saying that? The specifics of this are very clear. Captagon is a small pill which is a big menace. It has been seized in this particular case. The Jihadi drug of 227.7 kilograms worth 182 crore rupees has been captured. A Syrian national has been arrested in this entire case, and the Dehradun factory is now under the scanner. This factory was allegedly involved in the manufacturing of Captagon. Now take a look at this report by my colleague Priyank, who's in fact got us this story.
This seizure of 227 kgs of Captagon, if that could have been converted into tablet, then certainly 9 lakh to 15,000 tablets could have been made by these individuals. What is very alarming that over the period of these many years, these individuals have managed to make India as a transit route which could have led to the Gulf countries. The Jihadi tablet was used by the senior nationals in the past as well. Why India was made the transit route is certainly a big matter of investigation for the Narcotics Control Bureau.
Now, traces of Captagon being routed through Indian ports have raised major national security concerns. Investigations have revealed links stretching from Delhi to Dehradun and even the Mundra port, with an alleged Syrian network operating inside India. Now, according to investigators, one such consignment was concealed inside the cargo at Gujarat's Mundra port. The shipment was allegedly destined for the Middle East and West Asia by a Syrian national who had established an entire syndicate within India. Investigators also found that the accused had continued his illegal stay in India even after January 2026. Following intelligence inputs, the Narcotics Control Bureau launched Operation Ragepill. The first major raid was conducted at a house in Swatantrata Senani colony in Delhi. During this operation, officials have seized this drug and arrested the Syrian national linked to the network. Listen in to this reaction from the DDG of the NCB on how this operation was carried out.
We received an information from a foreign drug law enforcement agency that some people are trying to send Captagon to Middle East country. We found one chapati cutting machine, and in chapati cutting machine there were around 3.5 kg Captagon concealed. Further search of that flat, we recovered 28 kg more such tablet, and we have taken one person. His name is Ahmed Albaraz in custody. He is a Syrian national. In many of the conflict zone, this drug is being used so that their soldiers or their workers can fight for a longer period of time. And that is how it is also known as war drugs.
Now, as the probe has deepened, investigators have uncovered an extensive syndicate operating across multiple states. Authorities then received crucial information that another consignment concealed inside sheep wool at Mundra port contained Captagon. Let's tell you more about this highly dangerous drug that's popularly referred to as the Jihadi drug. Now, this is what Captagon is all about. It's a name used by probe agencies. In this particular case, it's called the Jihadi drug as well. It's a street name for phenethylene is what we are also told. A synthetic psychostimulant is the description of this particular drug, and it was developed in West Germany in the 1960s. It's developed to treat attention disorders and narcolepsy. Banned by the WHO in the year 1986. It's used by ISIS in Syria and Iraq to suppress fear. It's also used in Syria and Iraq to sustain combat in such situations. Syria is the world's largest producer and exporter of this particular drug, is what reports are telling us. Let's listen to this ground report as well.
Captagon has been named as Jihadi drug because the usage of Captagon, according to the UNODC, certainly stimulates someone's mind. The kind of fear psychosis which is there in the mind of individual, the kind of pain which they go through in a war kind of situation can certainly be suppressed by using of this medicine. These warriors can keep on fighting for days without having any kind of hunger, pain and any kind of sensation while their anger is on the highest peak. Why these drugs were being sent to the Gulf countries, which could have once again been routed towards those terrorists who are being infiltrated from the Pakistani side, is certainly a matter of investigation. So far, Syrians have been using it during their fight. India was made the transit point and it was being sent to Gulf country, and it is not an unknown fact that most of these anti-nationals have gone to the Gulf while they came back in India to create jihad.
All right, Priyank is joining us with more on this. Priyank, take us through this particular Syrian national. How did he come here into India? How did he get in touch with the drug manufacturers? And where was this finally headed towards?
See, Madhav, what is very important that he managed to illegally stay here, and during this time period, he got in touch with those factory owners who were there in Dehradun, and by which they were also procuring these jihadi drugs. What is very alarming for the agency that if you have seen that post Operation, before the Operation Mahadev, the Pakistani trained terrorists were also hiding in the forest area where they were living like a dead human being. They were not moving too much, and usage of these kind of drugs could have also been used by them. That is the biggest fear for the investigating agency. What officials have also been suggesting that post almost end of the war in Syria, now they are trying to take revenge from the Gulf countries. That's why Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and other countries are the next target for this jihadi drug, Captagon. In India, there's a massive seizure which has been done, and if you can calculate that kind of chemical which has been seized by the NCB, it is quite clear that more than 9 lakh to 15 lakh pills could have been made. God forbid if these pills could have been circulated among those anti-national and those radical elements, then certainly that could have been a major challenge for the security forces here in India as well. Although so far it was a transit route which was being used by these Syrian nationals, but certainly it could have come up as a major challenge for Indian internal security, Madhav.
All right, Priyank, stay with us because, the Operation Ragepill is what we're talking about at the moment, and it's expanding rapidly. Multiple teams of the Narcotics Control Bureau are carrying out continuous operations across Gujarat, Uttarakhand, Haryana and Rajasthan. Investigators believe that the crackdown could expose an even larger international narco-terror network with links extending from Syria to India as well as the Gulf region. Home Minister Amit Shah has also hailed this effort by the NCB. Now, clearly, of course, the fact that the Modi government is committed to a drug-free India as well as the first ever seizure of Captagon under Operation Ragepill has been cited by the Home Minister. The jihadi drug worth 182 crore rupees seized has been stated, as well as the fact that the drug consignment destined for the Middle East was seized. A foreign national involved has also been arrested, is what Home Minister Amit Shah has said in the past. Let's also go across back to Priyank. Priyank, this is very important from the perspective of the Home Ministry as well, because this is something that has enabled terrorists in the past. It has been used in Syria on the battlefield as well, and therefore cracking down on it becomes that much more important for India.
So far, after the ban of the agricultural product from South Lebanon and from Syria and the Gulf countries, Madhav, the agencies have been suspecting that this drug would not have reached India. But after the arrest of the senior national by the NCB, they got to know that more than 227 kgs of Ragebill, Captagon, which was kept at a port there in Gujarat, could have gone to Syria. But the kind of chemical which has been kept there, we know it for the fact that that could have been converted into more than 9 lakh to 15,000 pills. We know that most of these foreign trained terrorists have also routed their ways from Gulf countries. So you cannot deny the fact, Madhav, that if at all these radical elements who have been visiting Dubai time and again, the traces which has been mentioned by National Investigation Agency time and again, if they could have got access to this kind of drug, then certainly even by use of 2 to 3 pills, these terrorists could have survived for more than 10 days. And that is a major challenge which we have seen in the past also in the 26/11 attack. We know that how these terrorists managed to survive for more and more longer time period. Even in Operation Mahadev, also Madhav, the terrorists were there. So we are certainly in a position where India is being used as a transit route. But usage of these pills by those anti-India radical elements cannot be denied.
All right, stay with us, Priyank. In fact, let me also open this up to our guest. Joining us is Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP of UP. Dr. Vikram Singh, very, very important development in terms of the crackdown as far as Captagon is concerned. Consignment seized, and it's not in one, but in multiple states that investigators are following trails to look at the possibility of the trail of this particular drug. Take us through how significant it is, because it's not every day that you see the Home Minister, actually talking about the capture of a consignment of drugs.
Madhavji, good evening. Let me tell you, first of all, it's a very, very scary situation. But I must compliment the investigating agencies for having uncovered this an insidious plot that was responsible for the smuggling and the sale, purchase and trade of Captagon. And you very rightly mentioned it is very seldom. In fact, never have I seen the Honorable Home Minister taking and in fact complimenting and praising the investigating agencies, because it has national, international ramifications. And the jihadi backdrop also is very, very imperative to understand the insidious nature of this investigation. You would understand that this is a very special kind of drug, controlled very, very carefully by the NDPS Act. And this was a total breach of the NDPS Act, because he had used chapati cutters, multiple inlets, multiple outlets, multiple channels, using sheep wool and other material through which he could smuggle this drug to wherever he wanted to. You see Delhi, you see Mundra port, and you see so many other areas being identified during the course of the investigation. Had this not been uncovered, it would have been an unmitigated disaster, to say the least, because these drugs would have found their way, and not only would have given a new lease of life to the terrorists, but also the fact that these are consumed also by the jihadis. The crescent, the double crescent moon is indicative of the long term and the religious perversion to which these depraved drug peddlers could have gone into. And therefore, I would compliment, because it is multi-agency, multinational cooperation of the sister agencies right across the globe. And this would not have happened but for the fact that the best foot was put forward, and the results are in front of you, Madhavji.
Absolutely. But let me also bring in Arison Singh on this. Arison Singh, the very fact that, such a psychostimulant, which is banned, in fact, in the 80s, is available, the fact that this can be misused by those who want to try and spread law and order situations, those who want to try and spread terror. Take us through how it could potentially help them, because it has been used in battlefields such as Syria. How does it really help them? They're able to, lose all fear. They're able to continue fighting for long periods. What exactly does it do, Arison Singh? If you can break that down for our viewers.
No, you have to take the cue from, AFPAC region, where, Pashtuns, and I'm emphasizing on Pashtuns children, were, motivated to carry out suicide bombings using various types of drugs. Now, this particular drug was very extensively used by the Islamic State. But now that, it has been apprehended by the Indian authorities, I would say that this is a new inflection point as far as jihadism in India is concerned. Well, we have seen, the last Red Fort attack, and we came across this dimension of biological warfare, preparations for unleashing biological warfare against the Indians. Now, this is a new inflection point, I would say. But more importantly, I would say that it is, we must get to the bottom and find out as to who are the patrons, who are the people who are managing this whole thing. So that would be very important. I mean, the patrons must be, people who are orchestrating this entire jihad in India, or terrorism in India. So that aspect is very important. It also suggests that, with the supply of such drugs, jihadism may witness a more dangerous phase as far as the country is concerned. there is I would say, setback with our recent crackdown on the jihadists in various forms. So this is also an act of desperation. And when you are desperate, they may go to any extent. So this will consume your youth, particularly. I would not hesitate to say, particularly people from one community, and the elders in that community also have to take notice. After all, on this, you cannot propagate this jihadi madness at the cost of an entire generation.
Right. I'm just reading out, for some of the aspects that I'm seeing online. And Dr. Vikram Singh, you can come in on this. I'm told that the drug provides a massive rush of energy, suppresses need for sleep and hunger, induces feelings of euphoria. And because of these effects, it is used by armed combatants, particularly ISIS fighters. Now, if you're talking about a situation where they're in a standoff, for instance, like we see in Jammu Kashmir often, there are days of encounters that last not 1 or 2 hours, but sometimes it stretches across days. So this could be perhaps used by terrorists in exactly these kind of combat situations with our forces.
Very much, Madhavji, and Mr. RSS Singh has lucidly explained the brazen misuse of this drug, in the sense it gives you tremendous boost energy, it gives you a sense of bravado, and also feeling a feel-good factor. Therefore, most of the suicide bombers are known to have used this, and most of the other jihadis are also in Jammu and Kashmir and war-torn areas and the troubled areas are known to have used this particular drug, because it gives them an insensitivity towards their own welfare, and the feeling of right and wrong is totally blurred. And therefore, it is a favorite product that has been used by jihadis for quite some time. And as far as the origin is concerned, well, yes, first needle of suspicion goes to the ISI in Pakistan, because as Mr. Aran Singh has also explained, who are the people, who are the patrons, and who benefit. And therefore, I would say the end user happens to be those who happen to be remotely controlled by the ISI and other jihadi elements. Therefore, I have no doubt in my mind that the end product is such that a favorite product used by jihadis, suicide bombers, terrorists, right across, especially for our concern in Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir.
Right. And Arsene Singh, it's not just, in Syria where the ISIS fighters have used it. There have also been concerns about abuse in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan and other countries in the Middle East that have been expressed. Take us through the global example of why this is such a feared drug.
No, not only in the Middle East countries or, amongst the jihadis. Yeah, predominantly they are the consumers. But even in the Russia-Ukraine war, such drugs were very much in use because very difficult to find, boots on ground for both parties. And therefore, these drugs have been used. And I'm told, I cannot, I'm not, what should I say? I have no independent source to authenticate. But what I have read, that at the time, there were times when it was encouraged by the authorities themselves because of lack of manpower in Ukraine as well as in Russia. So where people fought, continuously for 3 to 4 days without a wink of sleep. I don't know whether it was there, but a similar kind of drug. It is available in the market.
All right. Arsene Singh as well as Dr. Vikram Singh, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us and breaking this down for our viewers. Certainly a huge big job that has been done in terms of our NCB, in terms of securing the country and in fact preventing the spread of Captagon that could be used by such jihadi elements. It's of course colloquially known as the jihadi drug, and certainly for all those who are wanting to spread terror using this drug, a huge setback for them indeed. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.